What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be kicking off foundation wear week with one of the foundations that I've had somewhat the longest, and I was able to get the best shade match the quickest, I guess, just off looking on Sephora's website. And this is the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Foundation. So I'm not going to have too long of an intro because I do kind of give a more formal intro in just a second, but I just wanted you guys to know that we're going to be kicking this foundation week off with a bang, I feel like. And without further ado, if you're interested in seeing how I got this base routine and how well this foundation lasts on my combination oily skin throughout a significant length of time, then let's just get into it. Hey guys, so I'm here to bring you guys my first wear test for this week's foundation week, and today I'm going to be featuring the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Foundation. This is in the shade Peanut Butter Cup, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and apply this foundation, and as I do so, you'll see me talking about all of the different features for this particular foundation. I will be doing, like I said, a wear test. I tend to wear foundations in my work life for at least 11 hours. Outside of it, it just kind of varies. So I'm gonna at least try to hit the 11-hour mark today, if not more. I'm gonna get the foundation on after I put on some primer, and then we will start from that time so that we have a true kind of 11-hour wear test going on. So for this whole week, I'm just going to use a primer that I'm very familiar with, and this is the Artless Glow Base Primer from Hemish. This is a K-Beauty brand, in case you did not know. And all of my other products that I'm going to be using this week are all just going to be known products. That way it's all the same. The only thing that's going to be changing is, of course, the foundation. So in case you are interested, it's going to probably all be Project Pan items. Those are just easy items for me to standardize. I already know my opinions on all of them, but let me get this primer rubbed in, and then we will go ahead and talk a little bit more about this foundation. So the full name of this foundation is the Easy Blur Natural Airbrush Foundation with Niacinamide. According to Sephora, it has medium coverage, a natural finish, fragrance-free. It is a liquid formula that is cruelty-free, and of course highlights the fact that it has that niacinamide. This is touted to be a lightweight, medium to buildable coverage foundation that's non-comedogenic and ultra blurring for an airbrush finish. Like I said, it's really highlighting the fact that it has niacinamide, specifically 1.5%. And if you did not know, niacinamide helps to smooth and refine the look of uneven texture and tone. It also touts to have silica, which is a product that helps to blur the pores, and it's supposed to result in a natural airbrushed finish. This is also vegan and cruelty free, and yeah, those are some of the highlights that they tout on Sephora. Let's dive into the actual foundation. So as you guys can see, I just went ahead and applied one pretty thin layer, I would say. I tend to do about like a pump and a half if I have a pump. In these squeezy tubes, it can be a little bit harder to kind of really standardize the amount of application on it. Sometimes I will apply the product straight to the actual sponge. Other times I will put it on my finger and then kind of blur it out, and that's how I can decide. You really gotta kind of get a feel for the foundation yourself. As you guys saw before, I had quite a bit of hyperpigmentation along this side of my cheek and up here in the forehead, on my forehead area. And what I will say is that this has covered up a decent amount. You can still definitely see that hyperpigmentation on my forehead, but I feel like it's not so noticeable. So I would feel comfortable walking outside, you know, like that, if that was like a thing that I really wanted to cover up, which lately I have been feeling a little bit more kind of insecure about that. Anyways, and then also in this cheek area, it definitely, once again, really helped to blur this area. I think this is a really good shade match for me. This is my first Huda Beauty foundation, so this really was me just throwing a chart in the dark, trying to find a shade that would work, because I did not have any reference for her foundation ranges. But if you are a foundation match twin to me, I definitely would highly recommend this shade once again, which is Peanut Butter Cup 455R. Now, the time right now is a little after 9:30. I don't even know if my camera is gonna pick that up, but it is a little bit after 9:30. So we're going to use 9:30 as our kind of starting point when all of this foundation on, because I pretty much had the foundation on at that point. I am going to once again just go ahead and do a pretty basic base routine. I'm going to be putting on my Project Pan concealer, Project Pan powder. I won't do a bronzer or anything like that. I do have some other videos that I'm going to be filming though, so I will be doing like a brow product, etc. But I will try to keep it as minimal as possible with my actual base. That way you guys can see truly how it looks. It does look like it's already dried down. I have worn this foundation a couple of times prior to this video, so I do have some thoughts already. And yeah, this is what it looks like without anything applied to it. I really just blended that foundation in. Let me add those other products, and then I will come back so you guys can at least see what I'm looking like kind of in ground zero. And then, you know, I'll come back periodically to give you guys some updates on the wear. I will also try to poke my head outside so that you guys can see what it looks like in natural lighting. I do actually need to do some things outside, but I just don't want to. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so this is going to be what my base is going to look like for the whole day. Like I said, I do need to leave the house just to do 2 quick errands. So I will probably do that after I get some of the rest of my filming done. I didn't spray my face, so let me spray my face. I do have kind of a routine, and so to keep everything very standard to how I typically do spray my face, I'm going to use my first spray first, and this is the Monica Dar spray. It helps to really add that powder and have it like kind of really be moisturized enough that it really seeps into the skin. And as you can see, my skin tone looks probably a little bit darker. This is more true to what my skin tone looks like. And then typically what I will do to make sure that my skin finish and everything stays long term the way I want it to, I will put on my LYS natural finish. This is the one that I find really does well at like keeping your makeup exactly in the state that it is when you spray it. So I will use the Monica Dar to kind of get rid of the powder effect, and then this to make my skin kind of look permanently like that for a long term. So now let's spray this, and now we are ready to go. So both of my setting sprays are good to go. All of my makeup pretty much is good to go. Like I said, the only other thing I'm going to be adding to my face on these days are going to be eyeshadow. I'm going to make sure I don't film hopefully any kind of cheek applications during these days that I'm going to be filming for my foundation wear test. That way everybody can see everywhere on my skin only the foundation, and of course just a little bit of concealer. I don't put a lot of concealer on. So that's it for kind of ground zero. I'm going to hop off of this video, do another video, and then I'm going to run out to do these errands before I get too comfortable in the house, and then I can just do the chores and stuff that I need to do in the house for the rest of the day. And I can also get you guys my natural lighting video when I'm out too. So it all works out in the end. So yeah, I will see you guys in probably roughly about 5-ish, 6 hours. That'll be 2 p.m. a little bit before I do my live, because today I'm actually filming this on Tuesday and I do my lives on Tuesday. So that'll be perfect timing. That'll get me into the mindset of like prepping what I need to for my live and all that jazz. You guys don't care about this. I'll see you guys in around 2 o'clock, 2:30-ish. somewhere around there. Got back into the apartment and I realized that I forgot to take my video. So I'm in my bedroom, has no additional lighting on, and I'm right in front of a window. And I will say that I think that this foundation looks really, really good. Like I said before, when I showed you guys in the first impressions, the pore areas look really, really blown out. Like you really can't see any pores at all, in my opinion. And yeah, I haven't worn this foundation for very long today. Right now, it's been about an hour since I sat down to film my original intro. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys this, even if it was like in the apartment, but it still has the natural lighting. Hopefully this works. Yeah. Alrighty guys, so it's closer to 3 than 2:30. So we're closer to about the 5.5-hour mark. Like I said before, when I was ending the video, kind of the first segment of the video, I said that I would be going out for a little while, and I literally was out for a little while. Like I was in and out within like 30 minutes, if even that. So I've pretty much been inside my house. I do tend to keep my apartment warmer than most people, so that may come into effect on like my oil production throughout the day. But I have actually been actively working on repotting quite a lot of my plants and watering those plants so that they can kind of continue to settle into their new homes. If you're a plant person, you know that that could actually be a somewhat vigorous exercise, if you will. I've also been doing some other things. So I've been like, I've been moving about. I haven't just been lying on the couch. That said, I have forgotten that I had makeup on. This foundation is extremely light and I truly forgot I had makeup on. So there might be some wear and tear, but that literally might be just because I'm like messing with my face. Because when I forget that I have makeup on, I touch my face all the time. So let me just show you guys so you guys can confirm. I do military time, so there is that, but it is 2:50 now. It just hit the 2:50 mark. So a little after, like I said, that 5.5-hour mark. That said, my skin is shinier than it was when I went away. I will say that, but I don't see any breakdown on any aspect of the actual foundation. And I still believe in my heart of hearts, yeah, that my pores in their respective big zones, which for me is really right here on the side of my nose, really doesn't look super abundant. If you're wondering what's going on with my eyes, I did film it. It's probably going to be up prior to this video, and this is going to be a like first impressions on the Pat McGrath holiday collection. So stay in tuned, and if you want to see it, I will have it linked down below. But yeah, overall, I would definitely say that this foundation is doing really, really well. Like I said, you could see my hyperpigmentation. I think you could see that part of my hyperpigmentation before I left, but of course, oils eat away at whatever's on top of it. So I do think that my oils have eaten away a little bit. I think it's a little bit more pronounced than it was when I did like ground zero, that clip. And this cheek isn't so much. So that makes sense. I would say for my oily kind of production zones, it's very much this T-zone and pretty much my whole forehead. So it makes sense that that part of my forehead has kind of eaten away at its foundation. Whereas down here, farther away from that T-zone, more on the cheek area, the oil really hasn't been eaten away, or the makeup hasn't been eaten away. But otherwise, I think it looks really, really nice. Like I said, I plan to do at minimum an 11-hour wear test. If I started this at 9:30, that's bringing me somewhere around 7-ish, and I end up doing my live today, which is going to start at 6. So I probably won't actually end up doing the final check-in until after that. So it'll probably closer to like 9-10. So it might actually be a full-on at least 12 hours that I do for today's wear test, just because of how my timeline after I do my lives, etc., etc. So yeah, we're looking good in my opinion. I know it may look oily on screen, but in person it just looks like skin. You know, it doesn't look like an abundance of oil, and it doesn't look like my foundation is trying to lift off of my face. And that was something that when I was getting into makeup was a huge deal. That was something that I saw a lot, is that the foundation looked like it was lifting off the face and you could really see into the pores. Anyways, I did not intend for this check-in to be so long, but I really wanted to kind of give you guys my thoughts as of today, right now. Like I said, I haven't been outside all that much, but it's been enough. And like I said, I keep my inside a little bit warmer, and I almost always wear a hoodie. So for normal people, this is probably the amount of oil production for a normal day. But then again, I don't sweat when I'm just chilling in my apartment, so I don't know. It is what it is. I hope you guys understand the thought process there. But that said, I am going to continue to do the things that I gotta get done today, and I will see you guys in a couple of hours my time, and I'm sure in a couple of minutes or seconds, if you will, in your time to finish up this video. Alrighty guys, so I am here and it is just a little bit before 10 o'clock. It is now 9:39 and I'm exhausted. Your girl is exhausted, ready to get into bed. I'm so excited to take a shower. My water hopefully got fixed today and it's gonna be a nice warm shower. But that's not why we're here right now. Why we're here right now is to talk about my final thoughts when it comes to this Huda Beauty Easy Blur foundation. So first things first, I'm gonna take my glasses off like I did in the last update, and I'm gonna give you guys a close look as to what's going on with my foundation. So overall, what I would personally say is that the foundation looks decent. It's been, like I said, probably right on the nose of 12 hours since I applied, sat down, all that jazz. And really, yes, my skin is oily, 110%. Yes, it wouldn't hurt to do a nice little blot or with either just powder or paper, one or both of them, 110%. But I think either way, I really haven't lost all that much coverage. I do think that a bit of coverage was really lost conveniently, or at least noticeably lost, in my two zones of pretty heavy hyperpigmentation. Outside of that though, I really don't think that this is a bad foundation. Now is this what I necessarily want to look like leaving work after, an 11-hour shift? Maybe not so much, but I think that this looked beautiful up until about the 6 to 8 hour mark. And so if you're somebody who only wears makeup about 6 to 8 hours because that's how long your shift is, or you only wear makeup outside of work, or maybe you just want this makeup to be for special occasions, I definitely think that this foundation holds up well. I just would not personally say that this is like the most long wearing foundation. Nowhere in the information that I said earlier today or that I've read since kind of being interested in this foundation does it tout at being the most long wearing foundation. If you wanted that from this range, I definitely would have told you to go for her first foundation, which is full coverage, long wear, But this one I think is just as the name suggests. It's just supposed to be an easy blurring foundation that you can wear to do errands, for a short day, etc., etc. So that's where I'm at with this foundation. I definitely think this is a really good foundation. Do not get me wrong. I definitely think that this is a solid medium to buildable coverage. I could have easily built up more coverage here. I would say the amount of coverage that I was able to get today was like a light to medium coverage. I really didn't put too much coverage on, and that's just my preferred lately. I just like a nice kind of clean slate. I don't necessarily need all of my imperfections to be completely whited out, if that makes sense. But I think that this day was able to really show you guys long term how this foundation wears on my skin. And this is a similar kind of finish that I found wearing this foundation all of the other times that I wore it. Like I said, I did leave the house today, and I do live in North Carolina if you did not know. So although we are in fall, it's still relatively warm. And in the apartment, I think right now it's somewhere in the 70s. My apartment tends to fluctuate depending on if I have heat, AC, nothing on. It fluctuates, yeah. So just keep that in mind. I'm used to pretty warm conditions. And so, once again, the warmer the condition, even if I'm physically comfortable, my body may be hot. Does that make sense? I'm not necessarily sweating, but it's just a warmer climate, which can produce more oil than maybe you're expecting. So once again, I would definitely take somebody's location into consideration if you're looking for them for a reviewer. If you live in the north, I mean, my conditions in the south may not be applicable to you in like Maine, you know? So yeah, I think I've rambled on enough. Like I said, I am exhausted. I am ready to go to bed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to show you guys day number 2 tomorrow. Alrighty guys, bye.